Welcome, everyone. Today, we're really getting into something critical, a deep exploration of the intense global competition around artificial intelligence.
It's definitely heating up.
Yeah, and the big question, the fundamental one we're looking at is, who's going to lead the world in AI? And maybe even more critical, what kind of AI model will shape our future?
Exactly, because this isn't just about tech.
No, it's way bigger. It's
Yeah.
about global influence, it's economic power, national security. It touches everything, really.
And the timing is, well, interesting. We just saw that APEC meeting in South Korea,
Yeah.
right, with 21 nations.
Mm-hmm.
And both the U.S. and China, they showed up with basically the same message. Trust our AI.
So it's moved beyond just, like, who has the best chips.
Oh, far beyond that.
Right.
It's now a fundamental fight over who sets the rules, who benefits, who defines how AI works globally.
Right.
And you see all these Asian countries, from Japan down to Chile, they're kind of at this crossroads.
It's a decision point.
Exactly. Which way do they lean? Which model do they align with? It's a big moment for them.
Okay, so let's unpack these competing visions then. Two really different models on the table.
Starkly different, yeah.
The U.S. side seems to be pushing, these sort of best-in-class but closed models.
What's a good way to put it? Think high performance, but proprietary. Built for profit, for dominance.
Keeping the tech in the house, like OpenAI does.
Precisely. And you see policy reflecting that. President Trump, for instance, using agencies like the Export-Import Bank, the IDFC.
To fund deals. Export USAI.
Yeah, underwriting deals, pushing the American AI ecosystem out into the world. There was even that story about NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang.
Oh, right. Convincing Trump about those H20 chip export.
To lift the ban, get that American tech flowing globally. It's a very deliberate strategy.
And China. What's their angle? Completely different, you said.
Completely. They're talking about an expanding open source universe. The whole pitch is about access, affordability, global inclusion.
Open source, meaning anyone can use and build on it?
That's the idea. They launched this AI global governance plan recently at the World AI Conference in Shanghai, calling for an international open source community. Models freely deployed, improved by anyone. The premier even committed to sharing advances, especially with developing countries.
That's a fundamentally different philosophy.
It really is, and it has real-world consequences for how AI gets picked up around the globe.
So why is Asia such a focus, the center of this contest?
Well, demographics, for one.
Yes.
You're talking over 4.5 billion people there, more than half the world's population.
And AI needs data. Lots of data.
Exactly. AI thrives on it. The more users you have, the more diverse the data, the better you can train those models, make them more relevant locally.
And countries like India, Indonesia, Vietnam,
Yeah.
they're digitizing fast.
Super fast. You've got these huge populations generating enormous amounts of data, plus they're becoming big customer bases.
And they're leapfrogging old tech.
Yeah, many are skipping straight to mobile banking, e-government, AI platforms. Think smart cities in Singapore, factory automation in Vietnam or Thailand.
Healthcare, education.
Right. In places like Malaysia, India, it's happening across sectors. It's like a massive real-world lab for AI.
And many of these countries aren't really aligned yet. They're open to both sides.
That's the crucial part. They're open to U.S. and Chinese AI. So the choices they make now, well, they could genuinely tilt the global standard one way or the other. It's huge.
For more really deep analysis on these kinds of critical global shifts, you should definitely consider subscribing to the Geopolitics Gazette. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Washington's strategy, they've tried to put the brakes on China's AI progress, right?
Certainly have, through export controls, various restrictions.
Limiting access to what? U.S. money? Talent.
Yeah, capital, key personnel, but also, crucially, advanced tech. Things like cadence design software.
Essential for chip design.
Right. And ASML's lithography machines, you need those for the most advanced chips. And of course, NVIDIA's AI chips.
And has it worked? Has it slowed China down?
To some extent, yes. Especially at the very cutting edge of chip manufacturing. It's definitely had an impact, created hurdles.
But China hasn't just, stopped. They have a countermove.
Oh, absolutely. A massive push for self-sufficiency. They even have this thing called Project Spare Tire.
Project Spare Tire. Sounds serious?
It is. Led by Huawei, involves like 2,000 other companies. The goal, 70% semiconductor self-sufficiency by 2028.
70%. That's incredibly ambitious. How are they doing it?
Well, one clever way companies like Huawei are trying to close the gap is by clustering chips. They take lots of slightly less powerful chips and wire them together.
To act like one big, powerful chip.
Basically, yeah. boosting performance for AI tasks, and they're building their big AI models, their LLMs, using these homegrown chips. No American tech needed for that part.
Really? So they're actually managing without the top-tier U.S. stuff for some things.
There are reports, yeah. Semi-Analysis, a U.S. research firm, found a Huawei Cluster 384 of their Ascend chips actually outperformed an NVIDIA flagship system on some benchmarks.
Wow. That must worry U.S. officials.
It does. There's definite concern that Chinese firms like Huawei could gain popularity globally, just like they did with 5G technology.
Because it's cheaper, or?
Partly cost, but also, as we discussed, this open approach. It's not just about building tech, it's how it's being adopted.
Right. You mentioned governments choosing Chinese AI tools, Indonesia, Pakistan.
Exactly. And it's not just cost. The open source nature is a huge draw. It lets governments customize the models, put their own cultural or linguistic stamp on them.
So they avoid getting locked into, say, a Western tech monopoly.
Precisely. They maintain more control. And this strategy really gained momentum with China's DeepSeek model.
Ah, yes, the open source model released back in January.
That's the one. Its performance, its efficiency, the cost savings.
Yeah.
It apparently really rattled some U.S. lawmakers. They weren't expecting it.
And other countries started adopting it.
DeepSeek, Alibaba's coin, yeah. Adoption picked up fast because in many parts of the world, affordability and access just matter more than keeping things secret.
So this open source play is winning friends very fast, as you put it.
It seems to be, which, interestingly, has prompted the U.S. to start using its Export-Import Bank.
The tool usually used for, like, planes and big physical goods.
Right. Now they're using it to finance poorer countries buying American AI models, trying to compete on that access front. Stepping back, though, all this AI leadership really rests on, well, two fundamental pillars: power and people.
Energy and talent.
Exactly. And on the power front, the U.S. has some real challenges. The electrical grid is, well, it's old, massively outdated for the kind of power AI data centers need.
They need huge amounts of electricity, right?
Staggering amounts. And the U.S. infrastructure struggles to deliver it reliably or in sufficient quantity. We've seen big projects delayed because of power issues.
Like that OpenAI SoftBank deal, the $500 billion one.
That's a prime example. Plus, President Trump's earlier rollbacks on renewable energy incentives hasn't exactly helped build out the clean power needed for AI training systems quickly. It's a bottleneck.
How does China compare on the power front?
It's a stark contrast. China's investing massively, over $564 billion planned for grid construction by 2030.
Wow, that's a huge number.
It's a 40% jump from the previous 5 years. And they already have something like 2.5 times the power generation capacity of the U.S. That gap's likely to grow.
Okay, so power is one thing. What about the people? The talent pipeline?
Also a major focus for China. They've approved over 600 colleges for AI degree programs now.
600. Up from what?
Up from just 35 back in 2019. It's a massive scaling up.
And they're starting even earlier, aren't they? Mandatory AI lessons?
Yes, starting this September 2025, mandatory AI in primary and secondary schools, building that foundation across the whole population.
How does the U.S. compare there?
Well, the U.S. has relatively few universities with specific AI degree programs, although the ones that do exist are, often top-ranked globally in computer science.
But there was that move by President Trump, mandating AI education.
Yes, an executive order signed in April for youth AI education. But then just last month, the Federal Department of Education was abolished.
Which makes coordinating a national strategy difficult.
It certainly complicates federal funding and coordination, yeah. It risks fragmenting the effort.
So China's building this homegrown talent pool.
Seems like it. That Hoover-Stanford study you mentioned looked at authors on DeepSeek papers.
Right.
Over half had never left China for work or study. That suggests a pretty strong domestic ecosystem is developing.
And Huawei's researchers are using Chinese chips to build models.
They are. They've published work showing how they're doing it, using their own chips to build LLMs, demonstrating that growing independence.
For more on this tech race and how it's really changing global power, don't forget to subscribe to the Geopolitics Gazette.
At its core, this whole thing is just deeply geopolitical, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about future influence, security. Whoever leads in AI arguably leads the world.
And the U.S. has been doing this tricky calculation, the risk of sharing its advanced tech versus the risk of not providing AI infrastructure if China steps in.
Like with 5G again, fear of losing the market.
Exactly. That fear of losing market share to cheaper, open Chinese alternatives definitely pushed the decision to sell more U.S. tech abroad despite some security worries.
It's a dilemma. And while the very best LLMs might still be American.
China's best open source models are catching up fast. Some benchmarks, like from AI analysis, suggest they've been outperforming some U.S. champions overall since last November.
Overall performance, wow.
Yeah, and you've just seen this flood of Chinese companies releasing open source models recently. Some even claim they're better than DeepSeek.
So the pace is incredibly fast on the open source side there.
Seems like it.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, you hear reports that OpenAI's Sam Altman has pushed back ChatGPT-5.
For more safety testing.
That's the report. Safety testing, further development. So you have this contrast. Rapid Chinese deployment versus more cautious American rollout, at least in that case.
So wrapping this up, what should you, our listener, take away? We're seeing this major tension, right? A real clash.
A clash of visions, definitely.
Right. The U.S., with its elite, often closed proprietary tools, making global deals, versus China, with its open models, this huge talent push and building a self-sufficient machine.
Yeah.
And maybe the ultimate question in this whole 21st century AI race isn't just who wins, but maybe who gets to define the playing field.
That's a great way to put it. Which model becomes the global standard? Closed and controlled, or open and collaborative?
The implications are just enormous, aren't they? For tech, the economy, global power.
Absolutely immense. It really underlines why critical thinking, just trying to understand these complex dynamics from all sides, is so essential right now. It affects everyone.
Couldn't agree more. And to stay on top of these developments that are shaping our world, please do subscribe to the Geopolitics Gazette. Thanks for joining us on this exploration.